Tucker Carlson is crediting Taylor Lorenz with being one of the 3 key tenets of Biden's authoritarian regime.
Authoritarian revolution has had 2 things in common: a coherent worldview and a competent military force. Lenin, for example, Lenin had the writings of Karl Marx to provide an ideological justification for his revolution, and he had the military genius of Leon Trotsky to pull it off. Together, these 2 were enough.
I didn't call it. I said Marx. I did not think he would pull up Lenin and Trotsky. He just said he only meant I mentioned Marx. I'm off by like this much.
Pull the czar and take control of the world's biggest country. For all his power, Joe Biden does not have these 2 things. Marx and Trotsky? No. Joe Biden has Taylor Lorenz and Mark Milley. Lorenz is the ideological anchor of the Biden White House. She's its muse, its Che Guevara. They are inspired by her revolutionary fervor. But Taylor Lorenz does not write weighty books. Twitter is her canvas. And having surveyed her oeuvre, we can tell you that Lorenz's main idea appears to be that anyone who doesn't wear an N95 mask in the shower is a racist. That's the sum total of her ideology. Now, there are probably several dozen people in Cambridge who agree with...
Okay, one, it's not that I've fallen off. I think it's that Tucker Carlson is unhinged. Like, he didn't even do the classic, like, Joe Brandon is calling an attack on every single white person shtick. Okay? Instead, he did the... Joe Brandon is trying to do a cancel culture by way of Taylor Lorenz. Friend of the show, Taylor Lorenz, is trying to cancel people on Twitter, and Joe Brandon is doing that as his campaign. Tucker Carlson will not rest until one of his psychotic fans actually does some insane shit to Taylor, by the way. Absolutely incredible stuff. CNN already calling him out about the Marines in the back. Wait, what? CNN? Oh, I did pre-watch this part for sure. Whatever you think of the speech, the military is supposed to be apolitical. Called it, baby. Fucking called it. Fair and balanced, right? Libtards are going to turn around and be like, yeah, you know what? It is pretty divisive. It is pretty divisive. The aesthetics on this are a little too far. You went a little too far, sir. Positioning Marines in uniform behind President Biden for a political speech flies in the face of that. It's wrong when Democrats do it. It's wrong when Republicans do it. So true, Queen. So true. You did it. You did it. You want to watch the downfall of American politics? You want to understand why we are so fundamentally brain broken? And you're like, why do people feel the way they do? Because on the one side, President Joseph Robinette Biden will say some tepid ass bullshit about how like it's kind of up that the Republicans are trying to, storm the halls of the Capitol. America used to be better when we stormed the halls of Congress to vote or whatever, right? And then the Tucker Carlsons of the world will take that and go, Joe Biden is literally Che Guevara, and Taylor Lorenz is trying to do a cancel culture on every white person by executing them. And then the liberal side of media will turn around and go, actually, the Republicans are kind of right on this one. It is a little political sweaty. And that's how that cycle continues. Liberals will literally never do the exact same thing that the Republicans will do in the media. And a lot of you dumbass liberals, don't you want honesty in media? No, I don't, man. I want at least some of the liberal media to resemble the Republican side. And not towards the left, but instead towards the right. Okay? There's nothing unusual or wrong with the president delivering a political speech. It is inherent in the job description, but doing it as a backdrop of 2 Marines standing in attention and the Marine Band is a break with White House traditions. It's just like, it's so, like or loathe what he said tonight. It should be noted, the president spoke tonight on the grounds of a national park flanked by U.S. Marines and took direct specific aim at his predecessor and members of the Republican Party. Another thing we don't see every day. Bro, Donald Trump literally went and gassed an entire crowd of protesters so we could hold up an upside down Bible outside of a church where the priest didn't even want him to be there. And you're like, wow, what a break from tradition for Biden here because he stood in front of Marines. I hate this aesthetic bullshit, dude.
But it is hardly the basis of a popular movement. It's not Marxism, it's whining.
Trump wanted tanks to do a military parade down the streets of D.C. Even his aides told him that was dictatorship. No, his aides told him that the American infrastructure cannot withstand tanks. That's why you can't do it. Not because it's dictatorship. American infrastructure is so dog shit as a consequence of the very same Republicans absolutely eviscerating, gutting our coffers, and Democrats allowing that to happen, that like you can't even have tanks roll down the streets. You know that, right? That's the reason. That's the real reason. I don't care what you think his aides were doing, the brave aides. Like, yeah, dude, his aides who also couldn't, stop him from doing an insurrection on January 6th? Shut the fuck up.